I'm here along Holly Creek. Behind me once stood the Crawford Long CCC camp. The 483rd CCC company resided here. They worked in this area, which is on the western side of Grassy and Fort Mountains. While this area appears very peaceful, in the spring of 1936, the camp was nearly washed away when heavy rains came down the mountainside. The men of the 483rd CCC Company banded together and built a seawall along the creek to prevent such a disaster from happening again. However, that wall is no longer here, just like the rest of the camp. This area of the Chattahoochee-Oconee National Forest is popular for families and anglers, especially during the warmer months. Now, while the 483rd main headquarters was right here at the base of the mountain, much of their work took place on the top of the mountain. We're going to go up there in just a moment and see some of the places where they lived and worked in the satellite camps. I've been looking at the August 7, 1936 issue of the Holly Creek Roar. In this issue, there's two things that I notice that are important to what's going on at the time the 483rd is camped out and working on Grassy Mountain. The first thing is there is mention of the CCC boys working on building the Grassy Mountain Lake. This is interesting because the lake is now referred to as Lake Conasauga, and it feeds the Conasauga watershed. This is interesting because there is some documentation from the USGS which indicates a discrepancy between naming the lake Grassy Mountain Lake and Lake Conasauga. Many locals still refer to it as Grassy Mountain Lake, while officially it is now designated as Lake Conasauga. However, USGS documentation does account for it at some point being named by the Forest Service as Grassy Mountain Lake, and certainly the Holly Creek Roar refers to it as Grassy Mountain Lake. The second thing of note in the Holly Creek Roar is the focus on education, which begins to be noticed in these issues of 1936 due to Roosevelt's emphasis on education for the CCC Corps. A variety of vocational skills were being offered, but also basic reading and writing were a focus. One of the reasons for focusing on the vocational skills was Roosevelt's plan to offer CCC veterans jobs in the civil service once their enlistment was up. I'm here on Grassy Mountain in a place called the Ball Field. When Native Americans controlled this area, they would often gather here for a variety of activities, including playing games, settling disputes, or exchanging women. I have two artifacts originating from here, one being this chunky stone. Chunky stones were used in a game where Native Americans would throw the stone. Then they would attempt to throw their spear with the tip landing as close to the stone as possible. Those who were the closest would win. I also have this axe head. This was found by my grandfather here during the time when the CCC boys had a satellite camp here. The CCC satellite camp here at Potato Patch Mountain served to help the CCC boys not have to travel so frequently down to their main camp at Holly Creek. During the week, the members of this satellite camp would work on the area around Lake Conasauga, travel back here to have their meals, camp out during the week, and then make their way back down to the main camp at the end of the week. Today, this area serves as a primitive and overflow camping area for the main camping area down by Lake Conasauga. These cisterns harness the spring here at Tibbs Branch, and they feed the Lake Conasauga campground. They've been installed since about 1937. Here we are again on Grassy Mountain. We're 3,300 feet above sea level at Georgia's highest lake. This lake was completed by the Civilian Conservation Corps between 1936 and 1940. The lake is stocked with trout and bass. Until recently, these campsites were first come, first serve only. In the post-COVID years, the Forest Service has moved to an online reservation system. The increasing popularity of such sites during America's most recent hard times is a testament and even a tribute to the work that went into building America's park system. We can easily recognize the long-lasting contribution to America by America's greatest generation in this 90th year anniversary since the inception of the CCC Corps.